A warm welcome back to Six Ashes for episode 26 with me, MrSealyp. 6:44. We are on day 5, late spring. Ground temperature still hasn't come up high enough for me to do corn or soybean. I'm getting a little bit concerned. Although, I want to thank everyone for all their help and support and comments. Michael especially was one that commented, "Oh no, I've left that open. Whoops. I just went round feeding all the animals, went off to get the Land Rover, and I forgot to close that." To say that, generally speaking, if we go into our window here for our planting, generally speaking, as long as you're within the planting window, if the temperature's not quite there yet, you can get away with planting. I think my eldest daughter's leg just fell off. That's what that big thump was in the background. So, our soybean and corn, we are now in the window for planting, although it says it requires 10 degrees and we're only at 7. So I'm going to take a punt and I'm going to put them in the ground. Now, the other thing I've also done is, we've got rain coming as well, so we need to be careful because at 6 o'clock tonight, 9 o'clock, Sunday we've got some more, Tuesday, yeah, the forecast going ahead's not fantastic. And I'm hoping the corn we're going to be putting in the ground is some kind of like 90-day maybe 109, 110 day corn or something, because I'm really worried we're going to get towards harvest season and it's not going to be ready. But if it's not, again, we'll just do the best we can. Oh, that was the other thing. Cultivator. You may notice we've got a different cultivator to the one I bought. The one I bought was working fine. Nothing wrong with it at all. This is the Gigant 10S 1200. This is a 12 metre. I thought, yeah, this is a 12 metre. It's made by a Mat 26. I was cultivating, that's the other thing I want to show you. I was trying to pick up as many contracts called cultivating jobs as I could to repurpose fields. So all the fields from last year that had withered, that belonged to other farmers, I wanted to get them all done. I went through the entire list and did as many as I could. I went pretty much all the way through the night and did as many as I could get done, so those fields will then hopefully start popping up, fertilising and then prepping, which is great. Now, I was over here at field 1 and 2, and just up this little lane here, there's a little farm just here. Jack is the name of the farmer that lives there. Lovely, lovely bloke. And I was doing field 1, and he came out and said that he had this. I was running a 10 metre, and my 10 metre one, if you recall, was fairly wide, and I struggled to get down some of the lanes. So he said he had this for sale, and was I interested? So we kind of part exchanged. My one was worth about 39 grand, I think it was. This one was 70. So I paid a bit more towards this one, but it's narrower, it's wider, does the job brilliantly. Actually, and we've had rain this morning. I was thinking I brought it down here because I needed to jet wash it, but I think the rain has cleaned it all off pretty much because it doesn't look particularly dirty at all. So that's our cultivator. We've got a new one, and it works really, really well. So I'm very happy with that. So what I'm going to do, I haven't got a lot of room there, have I? Is get this out of the way, because the other reason I came down the Land Rover was I'm going to grab the jet wash and I'm going to take it up to the other farm, to CJ Farm, because that's where most of the machinery and equipment's going to be. And if anything, I'm coming over here to wash things, when it just makes more sense if I have it where I'm going to be working. Right, so I can back that into that gap. This will go up to the main farm as well at CJ. Pigs are still at 91, sheep are at 53. Chickens obviously are now going to sit at 100 because they're done. Our crops are growing. You know, the stuff we put in the ground last year, this test plot I did, that's grown fantastically. Really happy with that. So that all germinated, that's all growing, not having a problem there. My grass is all growing. I am going to do a load of silage, but not silage bales. There are still tons of baling contracts available. But what I am going to do is cut a load of grass, because I've got a load of grass fields now, and put it in the bunker silo over at CJ Farms, compact it, ferment it, and then what I'll do is, as we get into summer, hopefully if we get some nice warm weather, I'm going to do a massive hay purge. Not purge, that's the wrong word. Hay, not sure, anyway. I'm going to do a hay something. I should have put that down. I'm going to have to put this on the seats probably. But the beauty of this one on the pallet is that it is movable. So what we'll do is lift up the jet wash. Hopefully I'll put that in that way round. Not on the roof. There we go. Don't like that so much, do it? Push it in a little bit more. There we go. Strap it down on the pallet. I don't want to put that on. I want to do that. That's difficult. I'll do the straps from inside. I'm going to have to close that up. Straps on. There we go. We can take the jet wash back over to CJ. First thing I'll do while I'm here, let's turn the lights off because the outside lights are on from last night. Yeah, so I'm going to do a load of hay, and I've got loads of stuff for doing total mixed ration. So moving forward, when we buy the cows, we're going to have loads, and I shouldn't have a problem with total mixed ration at all moving forward. So that's where I'm at the moment. What I'm going to do now is grab the class, go over to field 51, and I'm going to get that seeder going. Our new Novag. Because I need to get some of our own seed in the ground. The grass field, I'm actually going to take a long route up. Why not? Let's take the long route up. I can always come back down this lane again. That's a big field to my left. It's going to take a little while. But that's what I'm here for. So it's kind of a test, and you know, I trust. You know, I suppose that's it's a blessing and a curse, isn't it? And I've said before, if one person says, "Oh, you should do this because this happens," I often take it with a pinch of salt and think, "Oh, okay, I better have a look myself and try it." When loads of people all say the same thing, I kind of take that as, okay, fair enough, that's all good, that's what that means, that's going to work, I can do that. Our grass is growing. Might have missed a little bit on the edges, I did. Have a few little gaps here and there. Not the end of the world. But it is growing, so we should get our grass coming through. Pleased about that. At least I got that field all kind of sorted. Or this field, not that field. Yeah, so as far as, you know, planting the crop now, it is kind of a test in that it's not in the temperature window, but we're in the planting window. And as I've said before, I'm not making no bones about the fact I haven't done a lot of seasonal work. This is, you know, I've done some, but not a huge amount. So I'm kind of bowing to people that have played seasons from when it came out constantly. A lot of people, every single map they play on, they will play seasons. They know better than I do, you know. And like I've always said, I'm no expert. I play the game. I do what I do. Sometimes I impart wisdom and knowledge. Other times I impart other people's wisdom and knowledge. And if I do, I always say, you know, this is not my idea. This is not from me. I will often give people shout outs and say, look, thank you for the advice. Thank you for the guidance. Thank you for the idea, because it's not always me. Anyway, I need to get this back, and then we'll get the seeding done. Finally, was it 2 episodes after I said we were going to, and then realised that I'd made a huge mistake, and I still had a load of jobs to do. Now we can actually get it done. I guess the other thing I might need to do is move my doormat again. Might be able to CJ. Potentially. Okay, let's jump in this. The other thing I'm going to need to do is, at some point, buy a butterfly mower. I've got my front mower, but I want to get a butterfly one so I can run a triple mower setup. I've got a big enough tractor now that I can do that. I mean, I could have done it before, but when I was doing verges and that kind of stuff, I didn't need a triple mower, and my fields that I had for grass were all fairly small, so again, didn't really need one. Whereas now, where are we going? That way. Not that there's any traffic down the lane, it doesn't really matter too much. And that way, when we get to doing our grass cutting and stuff, it should make life a lot easier. Don't have to swap out, sell the front one and get a whole new triple mower set up, or whether or not to just get the rear butterfly mower that goes with that. I haven't really decided. So this is going to be my cornfield because it's the biggest one I've got. I think that's what I'm going to go with. I've got it set on corn at the moment. I suppose what I could have done, I can do at some point, I don't need to at the moment, is get myself a front seed tank so I can maximise my seed capacity. What I'll do is go around this field, we'll see how we get on. If I'm finding that I could probably do with some more capacity, then I'll probably get one. As it stands at the moment then. So like I say, this is it's going to be really helpful, because whilst it is narrower than my other one was, the beauty with it being, like I say, that every time I use it, it is technically ploughing, although it's not, because it's a no-till system, but it's giving me that ploughed state every single time. Every time I seed a field with it, or plant, because it does everything as well. That's another great reason why, whilst the slot count is quite high, if I bought a seeder and a planter, the slot counts on two of them could come close to what this is on its own. I just think it's worth it, you know, like I say, even if it is narrower, the fact that if I grow corn now, after you've harvested corn, the field will need to be ploughed. After corn, and what's the other one that it needs to? There's another crop. Is it sugar cane? I can't remember now. But every time you grow one of those crops, it will need to be ploughed regardless, whereas usually you'll get 3 harvests and then you'll need to plough again. When I come to do this field again next year, or whenever I come to reprocess it, what will be next year now I guess, won't it? I don't need to plough, I can just use this again and it will do the job for me. So yeah, it's a bonus. Nice bit of kit, I like all the movement on it. I'm going to do a couple of rounds. What I'll often do is try and get it to a point where I can get a worker on it if I want to. I mean, generally speaking, that will free me up to do other jobs, but if I've got no other jobs to do, then I'm more than happy just to go around the field. And that's also not just jobs in game. That's like household chores and jobs and admin and going through comments on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all the other places that I get comments and messages and, you know, requests for various different things or whatever it might be. So if I can get to a point where I've got a big field that needs doing, if I can hire a worker, that will then free me up to do some other things. So like I say, not just in game, but it does actually help for general day-to-day stuff. I know a lot of people still don't like farms with fields that don't run north, south, east, west, the fields that aren't rectangular or square. A lot of people just don't like it at all. And a lot of people will still on a field like this, they'll set it up, and sometimes the workers do still, even after all, from FS17, FS19 got released, AI has been greatly improved, has been sort of fixed, sorted, shouldn't be a problem, everything's great. And I'm pretty sure in at least 2 of the updates we've had since then, AI has been fixed, or at least has been looked at. So it does make you wonder. But then sometimes that comes down to the map, you know. Workers will react to various different kind of collisions, trees, hedges, things that it doesn't like, you know. Sometimes workers don't like to back up with certain equipment, they don't like to turn with certain equipment. So it's not just the kind of game mechanics that can cause it, there's all sorts of things that can cause those issues. But like I say, I try my best, and if it means having to do a bit more of the field than I was intending to get to a point where I can get a worker going, I can still get a worker going, and that can still help out. So sometimes it's just worth it. Cruise control on. Let's crack on. Finally! I know I did my own grass seed over there, but we are... I know last year I did my own fields, and then realised that there was all sorts of problems, and I had all those fields, this one as well, withered, didn't it? Which was... it grew and withered overnight, which was insane, but fingers crossed that's not going to happen again. We should be alright. It just feels right, having gone through the winter and then gone through the days to get to this point, to get the right temperature, to get, well, not the right temperature, but to get into the planting window for what I need to put in the ground. It's nice to finally be doing it. And I'm happy, which is again where you want to be. Yesterday was Christmas decorations day in the Seal household. Everyone was at home, which, you know, I suppose because of the kind of current semi-lockdown, it's a weird one actually where we are at the moment, but so all of my kids apart from my son, who lives away from home, he's got his own place, they were all here. Normally various different ones of them are working at weekends and they're not always here to help out and that kind of thing, and there's been a couple of years when myself and MrSealyp have been away, and we generally try and get our Christmas decorations up on the first, well, the closest weekend to the 1st of December is generally speaking when we put our decorations up. So it was lovely yesterday. Everyone was here. We got the decorations up. We had dinner together around the table. We've been doing that a lot more recently as well, which I really like. So those things we used to do a lot when the kids were little. Family dinners are important, you know, everyone's sitting around and you get to chat and talk about the day or the week or what everyone's been up to or whatever you've been doing. And then obviously as everyone started to grow up and they were going out more and working and, you know, working till different times of day as well. My wife, when she was working in London, wouldn't always get home at the same time, and so we would all then end up eating at different times, and it was generally speaking weekends we would have a Sunday dinner or whatever we were going to do, but it was just lovely. It's nice to do. So decorations are up, that's cool. I'm feeling a bit more festive. This is going to take some time, but oh, I thought I'd done enough there, but clearly not. Well, that's one round anyway. I'm not using as much seed as I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to use far more, but again, we'll see how that all pans out. These fields, because of what happened last year, are all fully prepped. They're all they're limed, they're cultivated or ploughed, whatever needed to be done. They are fertilised to the maximum, I think. Let me just try and get that at an angle. Let's just check on here, and we need to go to, yeah, they're all pretty much maximum, so I don't actually have to do any more work to these. Again, that advanced preparation means I haven't got to worry. I haven't got to put fertiliser down while I'm doing my seeding because it's already done. Nice. We are novagging. So what I'll probably do is see you in a little while now, I guess, and we'll go over to our other field, 16, was it? 16? That's I was going to put soybean in. I am still considering whether or not to plough out one of the other ones, another couple of soybean fields, or maybe soybean or sunflower. I'm trying to think of pig food wise. Actually, you know what, let's stop there a second. Turn that off and raise that up while we just check this a second. If we go across to our animals, they're all looking okay. Yeah, so if we look at our pig food, corn is the most, that's what they take. Wheat and barley, I've got 2 wheat fields, so I'm going to have wheat, that's not a problem, and I've got a little bit in storage. The bottom one, soybean, canola, sunflowers. All 3 of those crops pay out quite well. Soybean's pretty good as a cash crop, but like I said before, sugar beet, pound for pound, you get way more sugar beet. So when you sell it all, it kind of almost comes out equivalent. The only difference between the two is doing something like sugar beet is far more labour intensive to get it out of the ground than it is for doing something like soybean. So, you know, so am I going to use the soybean to sell, or am I going to use the soybean to feed the pigs? If I'm using it to sell, great. If I was going to use it for just pig food, I probably wouldn't put soybean in the ground. I would do canola or sunflower. But the problem I've got is our planting window. We are out of the planting window for canola now, or we're in the window for sunflower. So I could do sunflower or soybean, either one of those, if I'm going to do it for pig food. So that's what I was thinking about, maybe ploughing out another field, having one for soybean as a kind of cash crop. But again, like I said in the previous episode, whenever it was, I don't really need my arable crops for finance because I've got wood chip and I've got total mixed ration. And that's why every single farm you go to, wherever you are doing your farming currently, it will vary. And it will vary massively, and it will depend where you are, what makes you the most money, where you can make your most profit, and generally speaking, that's kind of what you'll go for. In some areas, you won't make a lot of profit on wood chip, on lumber, on even on silage at the biogas plant. You might make some profit, but in some areas, what the biogas plant pays out isn't great. So I still miss a bit. Or is that just where it's doing the turn? I'm not quite sure. I think I might have done. And every single farm I work on, the first thing I always try and look at is what is going to be the best thing for producing income. If that turns out on that map that it's going to be arable, then it's turning your attention to, okay, what arable crop is going to make me the most money here? And then do that fairly intensively to make yourself money. But, you know, again, like I said, in whichever episode it was, I just enjoyed the farming. I enjoy, you know, doing this. I'm like, now I'm smiling. I'm planting. And I know people still argue, oh, you know, weirdly I still get comments, people saying, oh, the game's rubbish, it's crap, you know. You get people that comment and go, this couldn't be further away from simulated farming. What? As a kid, like I said before, I used to play with Britain's toys. I mean, Britain's were the company that, I mean, as I was growing up, if we had farm toys and stuff, it was Britain's stuff we had. Now, I know there are lots of other companies that make stuff now, but Britain's toys were the ones we kind of had, or in my house anyway. And doing that kind of playing and farming, carpet farming, you know, that which a lot of kids still do, which is great. I know you can do it now with Playmobil and all different companies and stuff. You can do farming, which is great, and I love the fact that kids still want to enjoy it. But as a kid, I could only have imagined having a game like this, where you have all these different vehicles, all these different processes, all these different facets of farming that you could do to such, you know, and again, the people that complain about the graphics and say how rubbish they are, to such high fidelity. I'm sorry, but the quality of it. And I was thinking the other day, I went a bit squeaky. I was thinking the other day as well. I'm not having a rant. I'm just, again, I'm guilty of it as much as anyone. Is when something happens in game, or a mod gets made, or a map gets made, or Giants have done whatever they're doing, like the Alpine DLC. And there are two sides to this. One, my argument has always been, if you are a game developing company, or indeed if you're a modder or a map maker, if you're putting yourself out there to say, look, you know, this is what I'm doing, and you may be new to it, and I totally get that. The modding and map making is slightly different, I'll be totally honest. But for a games company, and that's what they do, they're making games, unless this is your first game. You know, if your company's decided, let's make a game about blah blah blah, and you make it, and it comes out and people are like, it's not that, you know, it's okay, but, you know, and you look at a lot of companies' first games, they're not all fantastic. It takes a few iterations before they get things right and that kind of thing. If you're a company that's been doing something for quite a long time, and you're a long way down the rabbit hole, so to speak, there's an expectation from people that if you are a games developer, if you've got coders and you've got development teams and you've got research teams and you've got all these guys, and it's their job to do this, and they are specialists in their field. I'm not a game coder, I'm not a developer, I'm not a programmer, that's not what I do. But if it is what you do, then there is a certain expectation, I guess, of what quality you should be getting. And we are kind of guilty of, when something comes out, it's like, well, that's rubbish. You know, that should do this, it should do that. And like I say, I'm just as guilty of everyone else of, you know, every now and again you kind of have a bit of a, oh, you know, this should be better. But then, what was I doing the other day? I might have been doing something off camera. I was doing some of the cultivating, and I was going up one of the hills, and everything kind of, obviously you were going uphill, everything slowed down. And I stopped and thought to myself, just for a minute, you think, just stop and think, all the things that we've now got in game that we didn't have on 15, that we didn't have on 17. Think about the coding and the game development and design that's required for all of the physics and mechanics and everything of what's going on at the moment, of what I'm doing. All the movement, the seed going down, the seed flow rate. You've got all the physics and the dynamics of, are you going uphill, downhill, is it going to slow down, is it going to speed up, does it feel like it's got weight on it, does it, you know, sometimes you get tyre slip, you've got two-wheel drive vehicles, four-wheel drive vehicles, you've got all the lighting, you've got the light dynamics, you've got the sound effect, you know, when you stop and you think about everything that goes into it, it is it's incredible, isn't it? It really is. I know people still complain and say, oh, yeah, rubbish, but, you know, but it is. Just watching that, and I think that's something, again, I've said time and time again, we take so much for granted. You don't stop every now and again and just take enough time to look and say, this is amazing, this is incredible. When you look at, you know, like the birds, they're going to take off now when I get to them. We didn't have that on 17. But we've got to that point now, when the game was due for release, over 2 years ago now, it was like, there are going to be birds in the game, there are going to be birds. That was amazing. But how often now, when you're driving around and doing stuff on the map, do you just ignore that? It's just, you see the shadows going across the ground of the birds flying over, or they take off out of a field, you just kind of ignore it now, because you're used to it, you know? It is an incredible thing. Are there things that could be improved and should be improved? This all came from me talking about AI, wasn't it? About hired workers and stuff. Yeah, probably. Is it better than FS15? Yeah. Is it better than FS17? I know people say, well, I prefer FS17, you know, it's a better version of the game. Again, everyone's entitled to their opinion, of course they are. There'll be certain things you like or dislike about everything. But I don't know. You know, when people are new to this and you say to people, oh, you know, well, people often ask me, my wife was having a conversation the other day with the people she works with. She was on a conference call and they were talking about PlayStation 5. That's how the conversation came about. And they were all saying, all these different people that she works with, all these different, they're all quite, you know, they're all very high up people, and you know, she works in the pensions industry, and they're all, you know, fairly well-to-do people and whatever. They're all talking about themselves or family members, kids and whatever. They haven't been able to get hold of PlayStation 5s. And then my wife had said that I'd got one, and then she spoke about Mr. Dalek JD, who'd helped me get this one, and that he's a YouTuber, that I'm a YouTuber. And I think people are still kind of a bit, when people say, what do you do for a living? So I'm a YouTuber. People go, what? A little bit, can you do that? I mean, there are still a lot of people that, whilst they'll watch YouTube day in, day out, don't actually think of the fact that some people, you know, when you first start out, no, of course it's not your job. It's something you do as a hobby, and, you know, a lot of people kind of hope that at some point you'll get to a point where it can become your job, where this can be what you do. I mean, I count my blessings every day. I can't honestly, never imagined in a million years when I started doing this that I would end up, this would be my job. This would be what I do, you know. I make videos, I edit videos, I do mod reviews, I've been doing the Farming Simulator League stuff, I've travelled around, I respond to comments and read comments and do my admin and I never believed this would be a thing I would be doing. And people are still a little bit kind of, wow, that's incredible. And when you say what it is you do, oh, what do you YouTube? Oh, I play Farming Simulator. And people go, oh, a bit like, really? Do people do that? But I have found, for the most part, most people that you introduce to this very, very quickly go, it's incredible. I love it. I'm hooked. I'm addicted. I can't stop playing it. And I think that's the other thing we kind of take for granted. And I've said this so many times, never stop being a child. Never stop acting like a child, thinking like a child. Never stop being amazed by things. We kind of, I suppose I'm getting a little bit, because we did the decorations yesterday and I'm feeling a bit Christmassy and festive, but I love that awe, that wow, that wonder. When you do something and you go, that's incredible, that kind of childlike feeling of, whoa. When you see something for the first time that you've never seen before, or, you know, it might be you're travelling and you've gone somewhere you've never been before, and you've seen something you've always wanted to see. It's that awe and wonder, and never stop asking questions, never stop researching, looking for things, finding answers. I know I'm going a bit preachy and a bit, you know, not a rant. This wasn't a rant this time. I know people, you know, keep ranting, we love it. But I just think, yeah, just take a minute, just take, you know, just stop and whatever farm you're farming on at the moment, whatever machinery you're using, just stop and take stock. Just have a look, wander around, take a look at the detail. You know, we all get into that habit of, let's get big machinery, do it quickly, this has got to be done as fast as possible, I need to get this done, and you just kind of hammer through getting things done, and you don't stop long enough to just go, wow. There you go. There's me saying I'll see you in a little while. So yeah, I'm going to get this done now. Sorry. It's 1:15 in the afternoon. I haven't finished my field, and it is with regret. Much as I like the idea, much as I like the whole no-till, I like the fact this thing will plough as it goes. There are too many problems. I can't hire a worker at all. It doesn't seem to be recognising or registering what's been seeded already. So I prepped the field and I left literally rectangles, simple rectangles, and it's seeding and then going past what's already been done and continuing up the field. On the rare occasions it does register where it's been seeded already, it will try to turn round, it will go miles up the field and then say it's finished working. The other problem I found is when you get to the end of a row and it lifts to turn round, it's leaving a little strip that it hasn't put seed in, about like 1.5 feet, 2 feet, whatever, on the ground. The only way I could get away from that happening was if I took manual control and just kept on going to the end, and rather than and literally just raise it as I get to the end and turn around, and that was fine. So the problem is, it is great, I like it to a degree, but I suppose that's the point. It's trial, and you know, not everyone. I know I was watching haven't seen him for quite a while actually. When was the last video was posted? Probably been some actually posted over the weekend, but watching Zach Johnson, Millennial Farmer, and let's repair it first, sell it back. We've made a little bit of a loss on it, but not that much money in all honesty. But what I have also, did I buy it or lease it? I thought I'd bought it. I've got the monopil, and I have decided to go with the front tank, because with this one it needs a front tank, because it doesn't have, I mean, it's got tiny little planter boxes but not enough. And I can do soybean with this as well, which means I can do my corn and soybean, and then looking towards next year's planting of wheat or barley or whatever, we may have to have a rethink again on what we're going to do with regard to all this kind of stuff. This will hold 2,200 litres, the Radiostat FH19, and when we hook up to this, the Governland Monopil eDrive 224. This is part of the Governland and Vicon pack. Great thing about that is, as you can see, very narrow, although getting into certain gateways might be tricky because it's fairly long. But this is a 12-metre wide one, so I've doubled the width on what I had. The amount of space it takes up is a lot less. I'm going to give this a go and see if it will work better with a hired worker. At least if it doesn't, I know that if I have to take control of it manually, I'm getting twice the work done in the same amount of time. I don't know. Like I say, it's worth trying these things out, and on paper, the Novag looked absolutely perfect, and probably should have been, but I don't know. Especially when you're doing big fields as well. You know, I'm all for doing stuff manually, I don't mind at all, but like I said, if you've got other things that need to be done, taking a little bit of time, setting a worker off and then getting some things done, but I could not leave it at all. which then just becomes a bit frustrating. So unfortunately, it had to go. I'm going to fill this up, give this a bit of a crack and see how we get on with it. I've got a little bit of seed in the field, but I need to get into the field first. And we'll go from there. I could go across my yard. Oh, I'll go around the back. I could go across my garden, but I'm not sure MrSealyp would be overly enthused with me doing that. Yeah. Oh well. Like I say, you live and learn, don't you? There's no point being stubborn and pig-headed about it and doing that kind of thing of, no, that's what I picked, that should work, it has to work, and just keeping on with it when it's not working and it's frustrating and you're not happy. So it just makes more sense. We'll do it this way. That's my decision and I'm sticking with it until I change my mind. Right. Let's fill up the front tank. I think there are little planter boxes. They don't take up. I don't think they take much seed, if at all. Let's see what we got here, shall we? So there you go. That could be filling up the front though, couldn't it? No, 1,000. Okay. Right, front tank. Open that. That'll give me a bit more capacity than I had last time. Let's do that. Is that all the seed I've got left? Thought I had more than that. Fingers crossed. Whoa. Bit wobbly, let's fold that up. We are still set on corn, which is good. I've got the machine to cope with it, so it kind of just makes sense. Let's go that way. There we go. Right. Let's try this, shall we? Why did that just leave a gap? No. That's better. Right, let's try that. Hopefully we'll have a bit more luck. See, with the other one it was a bit like, come on, we're in the planting window, the temperature's not there yet, but we need to get stuff in the ground. Go, go, go! As I've said many times before, best laid plans and all that. I'm sure we'll try many different variations until we get to one that we're happy with and it works really well. Please, when you get to the end, turn round. That's the test now, isn't it? That will actually turn round at the end. Come on. We may only get a very short bit at the end of this of me doing soybean. Come on, turn around properly. See, already this hasn't driven, hasn't driven a mile down the field to be able to turn round. This is, I think because this is 3-point link as well, once it's lifted, the vehicle will turn on its axle. When you've got a trailed one, it needs that turning circle to pull round, and that can always extend the length. That already is, you know, so much better than the previous one was. Right, okay, I'm going to carry on again then. You can see though, on times 5, when the time's going as it is, you're not going to get a huge amount done in a day. You don't, do you? Is that going to cover up that bit? Yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going. There we go. Had to think about it for a minute. So yeah, we'll only just about get the other field done in the rest of the day. But anyway, yeah. Change is as good as a rest, they say. Field 51 is done, and we are heading up to field 16. Yes, 16. I'm going to swing round in this field rather than try and go tight in. That turns way tighter than the other one does as well. I don't know. I suppose in anything you do, you try to justify what you're doing by, you explain it away in your head however you want, or, to other people. And the Novag made sense. There are options available that if you do want to go down, I think because it was an all-in-one thing, that was what made it so appealing. Having separate machines to do the work isn't unusual, it's not uncommon. In fact, that's probably more normal these days than having a machine that does everything. We are moving towards a technological time when farms and farming is trying to get things done in, the one-pass system, that kind of thing. If I have to have a separate seeder and a separate planter, so be it. I just was really hoping that it was going to work, but we'll switch to soybean now. I have put a little bit more seed in the front tank just so we're good. Turn that on, drop that down. Now obviously the only difference with this as well compared to the Novag, this doesn't take any fertiliser. So this field is going to need fertilising again, which is not a problem. I can run my fertiliser over this. And it's probably going to need another one before when we get a first growth stage. So after this I'll put some fertiliser in the ground, we'll get first growth stage and then we'll put some more in. Is that right? I'm just trying to think, where are we? We're over at field 16, which is there. Do that and that. Yeah, it's only got one fertilising state at the moment. So yeah, we'll need to. But again, that's not a problem either. I don't know. This shouldn't take too long with the 12-metre one. Again, I'll try and get myself a nice area sorted out already for it, and then if we have to do a little bit more than we were assuming we would to get the worker to work again, so be it. Such is life. Right, I think I'm done. Well, I'm not done on this obviously, but the video we are. We are now getting our fields done. Am I going to plough another one out and put something in another one? Maybe. I might do another field and put sunflower in it. I suppose with the money I've got sitting there at the moment, I could, in all honesty, buy a field. There might be some fields with sunflower in already, which would save me any time, but I don't know. Also dawned on me as well, buying the fishery in the last episode, there's loads of grass there as well. I've got, going from last year of having very little grass and having to just go around everywhere to get every scrap I can, now I've got so much grass. That's why I was saying about doing silaging. So possibly next episode then, because the seeding will be done, I might start some grass work. It's not going to be warm enough for me to be able to do any hay yet, but I think maybe we'll get a butterfly mower, we'll get a load of mowing done, get that collected and put into the bunker silo at the cow farm, so we can get that fermenting at least on the way. That didn't work as well as I hoped. Yeah, I think that will be next. Well, that's my plan at the moment. No plan survives contact with MrSealyp. So, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. We are, as always, moving forward. We are continuing. If you have enjoyed it, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.